I would like to welcome everyone to the Daviess County Fiscal Court October the 6th meeting. Commissioner Wathen, if you would stand, please. Commissioner Wathen, would you lead us in a prayer and a pledge?
Yes, dear God our Father, thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed on this great county. Please bless all of our employees and their families. Bless our police, sheriff, deputies, military, and all of our first responders. During this season, help our farmers as they work in the fields to harvest their crops. Help them to be safe and to be productive. As always, we ask that you help this court to make decisions that will be pleasing to you. We pray for all of this in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner, and once again I want to welcome everyone to our October 6, 2022 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. Jenny, you let me get started off on the wrong foot. We were going to have the public hearing before we started the meeting, but we can hold it inside of our meeting. Just a point of personal privilege. Today, my dad has been dead for 30 years. My dad was one of the smartest people I ever knew and had probably the least amount of education of anyone I ever knew. But when he got called to serve during World War II, he did. He faithfully served his time, came home and raised 12 kids. I don't know any other definition of a good life than what I just told you about my father. Jenny, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Okay. This is a public hearing. Item 1 is Owensboro Regional Recovery Closeout Document.
Tom Lovett with GRAD.
It's
No.
never on.
Just turned it off. Oh, I just turned it off?
Yeah.
Yeah, hold the bottom down on the button, please.
Hello? All right.
All right, you are from GRAD.
Yeah. Good evening. The purpose of this public hearing is to advise citizens of the progress made during the administration of community development block grant funds and the pending closeout of the Owensboro Regional Recovery Project. ORR is a men's drug and alcohol rehab center located at 4301 Beach Road here in Owensboro. The center averages about 100 tenants a day on a daily basis. Since February 2010, ORR has served over 2,000 men through its counseling program. For the current fiscal year, $200,000 of community development block grant funds were allotted to the project for operational purposes, which is staff salaries. Funds utilized for the initial construction of the center consisted of low-income tax credits, home funds, affordable housing rust funds, and funding through the Federal Home Loan Bank. Funds utilized to pay utilities and to house men include Section 8 vouchers and funds from the Department of Corrections. If there are any questions or comments.
Are there any questions from the commissioners? Any question by the public? Let the record show that no one had a question. Do you have another part now?
I do, sir. And then this is the application for next year's funding. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide information to the public concerning the proposed application of $200,000 of CDBG funds to be submitted to the Department of Local Government and to obtain views on housing and community development needs. This public hearing also serves to inform low and moderate income persons that there is technical assistance available through the Green River Area Development District in developing grant proposals for the CDBG program. Other program areas include public facilities, economic development, housing, community projects, and emergency relief. Funds will be used for operational purposes, again, staff salaries, for Owensboro Regional Recovery. Past CDBG funds have been utilized to pay staff salaries as well. Since the project funds are being sought through the Department of Housing and Urban Development, it's easy for you to say, it must be advised that the Uniform Displacement Act does not apply to this project as no residents have been or will be replaced due to the activity of this project. A copy of the Uniform Displacement Act, however, can still be obtained from the Green River Area Development District, that's GRAD, the Daviess County Fiscal Court, or the Department of Local Government.
Commissioners, any comment or question? Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I think I know the answer, but is there, I tried to listen real hard to see if you mentioned, if you said it's for next year to be for 200,000 again, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is there anything in place, any mechanism that will help this organization as inflation keeps going up? It seems like we've been doing this 200,000 for a long time.
Yes, sir.
And prices have changed a lot over the last 10 years.
I know that the application that we were asked for we were asked to apply for $200,000. If that needs to go up, we can consult with the ORR people and see if they feel like they need more.
ORR asked that you apply.
Yes, sir, that was
grant.
the amount they
So
feel.
that was the amount that they wanted to apply.
Right.
If they asked for 250, you
That
would
would
apply.
be,
I don't
that
know
would
whether
be
you
what we-
get
yeah.
it or not.
That's my understanding, yes, sir.
It just seems like some kind of mechanism, something should be in there for them
Yeah,
for the inflation. I think it's at, what, 7, 8, 9% right now, so.
I think I would speak on their behalf and tell you, Commissioner, they do an awfully good job getting out and advocating for their mission and raising funds to supplement these funds.
Yeah, this is
No,
not
I
the only
agree.
source of income that they have.
Just a thought, I was just wondering.
Any others?
Sorry.
Any question or comment by the public regarding the use of $200,000 of CDBG funds for the operation of the Owensboro Regional Recovery? Let the record reflect that there were no public comment, and with that, this public hearing will be closed.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, and we'll get to a part of it here later where we do the resolution.
Thank you, sir.
Jenny?
Item 1, consideration for presentation, A, proclaim October 11, 2022 as Women in Agriculture Day.
Is Gabrielle here, by the way? I don't think she is, but anyway, we'll mail this. Whereas there's a growing influence of women who serve as leaders and primary decision makers on Kentucky farms, and whereas Kentucky has over 40,000 female farm operators that make up nearly 1/4 of all farm operations in the state, and whereas Kentucky Women in Agriculture is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the professional development of its members, and whereas the Kentucky Women in Agriculture strives to prepare females of any age for leadership roles in agriculture, agribusiness at the county, state, and national level, and whereas 211 Kentuckians are active members of the Kentucky Women in Agricultural Organization, and whereas Kentucky Women in Agriculture is currently celebrating its 23rd annual conference in Owensboro, Kentucky, now therefore I, Daviess County Judge Executive Al Mattingly, do hereby proclaim October the 11th, 2022 as Women in Agriculture Day, and I assume that you will send that. Oops. Yep. You ready?
Item 2, consideration for approval, A, minutes of the September 15th, 2022 Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, you all had a copy of the minutes in your hands for some time. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
B, all claims for all departments.
Move to approve.
I have a motion and second. And again, Commissioners, you all had a copy of the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court in your possession. Any questions of the treasurer at this time? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
C, fund transfers.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and second, Mr. Hendricks.
I have 2 fund transfers. Both of them are transferring funds from the Solid Waste Operating Fund to the Solid Waste Construction Fund. The first one's dated September 16th and is for $70,000. The second one is dated October the 6th and is for $730,000. That $800,000 is budgeted. It's a normal expenditure, and the majority of it is for the purchase and the installation of the liner in the new cell at the landfill. I request your approval.
Question or comment, Commissioners? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
D, distribution of House Bill 202 grants.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, this is always a fun time when we get to give out some money. It's particularly fun when it doesn't come from the Daviess County taxpayers' pocket, but it comes from those people who come into this community to take part in the arts organizations. So this is the result of excess hotel and motel tax. As you recall, back 7 years ago, David, 7 years ago, we went to the General Assembly and asked if we had an accumulation of excess funds that we didn't need to pay a bond, could we just distribute that straight to the folks? In the past, we had to bond it. We had to borrow money. We had to do all kinds of things. It didn't make sense to go through the expense of bond counsel, the interest expense. And we were able, through the work of Tommy Thompson, and I think Senator Joe Bowen was there at the time. I know if Senator Boswell had been there, he would have been championing it. They were able to push this through, and it's a Kentucky Revised Statute that pertains only to Daviess County, only to Daviess County. So we have a 2% room tax that was passed years and years ago to bond. I think it was something for the Art Museum and for the River Park Center. I think as a roof for the River Park Center, and the Art Museum got some climate control equipment. Over the years, as our room tax has grown and we were able to refinance the bonds, we now have an excess every year. Well, typically we distribute some of that excess yearly. The last 2 years, what happened? You guys couldn't even been sitting here. The pandemic hit. So this is the first chance that we've had to distribute some of the funds. So what we did was we sent out a letter to all those agencies who were eligible. The only agencies eligible for this money are downtown, inner city arts agencies. It's only agencies that are, if I could use this money to run a homeless shelter, it'd be great. I can't. If I could go out and build the park out at Whitesville, it would be great. I can't. This money has a specific use and purpose as designated by the KRS. So tonight, it's our duty and it's our privilege to be able to distribute some of these funds for very worthy projects that were submitted. So what I'm going to do is I will call each organization. I won't call you out, I'll call you up. Tell the public just generally what the grant is for, and give you some very brief remarks. I can throw this a pretty long way, and I'm very accurate, and we have a very long schedule. So the first grant this evening is to the River Park Center for $63,000 for a security camera system. So River Park Center, come up here.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you very much. And what this grant is going to do for us is we're going to have security cameras for the first time in the 30-year history of the River Park Center. There'll be a security camera at every entrance and every place that we exchange money. So for the first time ever, we'll actually have that security measure in place. So thank you again very, very much.
And what I'm going to do when we go through them all, I'll get all of you to come up, a representative, and we'll go down and get a picture taken. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next organization is the Bluegrass Museum, $75,000 for a Jerry Garcia Grateful Dead Bluegrass Roots exhibit. When I first read this, everybody knows that Jerry Garcia is a bluegrass musician. So tell us what this one's about. And identify yourself.
Yeah, Chris Jaws, I'm Executive Director, Chief Banjo Officer at the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame and Museum. And what's wonderful about this is that Jerry Garcia, famous for the Grateful Dead, passed away in 1995, is really iconic status in American modern music. But a story that really hasn't been explored is his early years in the San Francisco Bay Area in the folk scene that really evolved into his interest in bluegrass music. And so he was a very good bluegrass musician, played banjo, and even after the Grateful Dead achieved all their success, he continued to collaborate with bluegrass artists. In fact, the second highest selling, most popular album in bluegrass history is Old and in the Way, second only to the Oh Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack. And it was Jerry Garcia collaborating with two Hall of Fame members, Peter Rowan and a fiddler on this record. And so he has a real pedigree there. And before you throw that, I just think this is going to help us broaden our audience beyond just the core bluegrass enthusiasts. So thank you for enabling us to move forward to tell that story and attract more folks to Owensboro.
Okay.
Is this a temporary exhibit, I take it?
It is. So we have 2 temporary galleries, and so this will be a temporary exhibit that will probably, once it's installed, will probably last 24 to 36 months. The beauty about this one is it enables a lot of live music programming to complement this as well. So hopefully it's going to be the gift that continues to give in terms of attracting folks here to Owensboro and having an economic impact.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you. The next organization is the Fine Arts Museum, $70,000 for the Smith House exterior restoration. Senator Boswell, welcome.
Thank you very much, Judge, members of the court. Appreciate the opportunity, and I have had gavels thrown at me before by the late Speaker of the House, William Kenton, so
Yeah.
I'll keep this brief. The Owensboro Museum of Fine Arts has served our community and the state and region for more than 40 years. And actually, it's the only museum of its kind west of Louisville, Kentucky. We're quite proud of it. It is a major factor, as many of the other arts are, in enticing industry to our community. We're very proud of it. There's a component there, the Smith House, which is on the National Registry of Historic Places, the oldest structure in our facility. And we're quite proud of that building. There have been moves in the past to take it down, but we consider it a very important part of the history of Owensboro. Much needed repairs on the roof, and we appreciate the opportunity. I'd also like to point out very quickly before we throw the gavel that we're in the midst of a campaign for the future. I know it's always been an issue with our governing bodies that you must have a campaign to sustain yourselves, and we're in the midst of that. It's a $2 million capital campaign. We have commitments now of $1 million, and we're going to continue to build on that. And so for any questions, I will try to answer. We have Mary Brian Hood and Jason Hayden with us here today with the museum that has most of the answers, I would think. So, any questions?
None, thank you.
We certainly appreciate the support of the fiscal court. Thank you very much.
The next organization is the Theater Workshop, $50,000 for lighting upgrades, security upgrades, and support of off-site programs, which intrigues me. I think you guys have done programs at Yellow Creek Park in the past. And
We have, Judge.
and we
thank
hope
you.
to see more of that.
Thank you, Judge, and members of the court for all the support that you've shown us throughout the years. We're going into our 59th season. So we've been around a minute, and we just about got it right. But thank you for the support, and we'll be able to do some significant
And
upgrades.
just as a side note, I
continue.
used to work for this gentleman's daddy for a
Yes, you
long
did.
time when I worked for West Kentucky Gas and was going to college. So,
Your name
and
was in
Jack
my
was
ear from a young age.
Yeah,
I
Jack
heard
was
a lot about Al
excellent,
Mattingly.
excellent fellow. So, thank you.
Thank you, folks.
The next organization, Museum of Science and History, $50,000 for an amazing airway exhibit and general upgrades to improve other exhibits. And while you're coming up, we had a secret shopper into this community, Joe Benito, I think, and some of his recommendations were exhibits are getting stale. We need to change things. We need to kind of use some pop like the Jerry Garcia thing. And so some of these are a result, and we asked for your request to talk to us in terms of how this would do and accomplish some of the things recommended. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge Mattingly. Commissioners, I'm Kathy Olson with the Museum of Science and History. Thank you very much for this support. We did listen to that study, and we've taken it very seriously. As you well know, the court was very instrumental in our new Sim and Sally Davenport Gallery. We are opening a new early childhood education gallery in just a couple of months. You'll be hearing about that soon. And the Amazing Airways exhibit is an extension of that gallery, and inside that gallery for older children. And as a matter of fact, it is K through 100 years old. So it's something that tourists can enjoy. It's something that middle schoolers and high schoolers can get benefit from. Fits right into their curriculum as well as elementary curriculum, and everybody can have fun while they're learning. That's very important, and we thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. The final organization is one of my favorites, by the way, the Owensboro Symphony, $50,000 for a 2023 sponsorship of Summer Salute free concert and other off-site free programming.
Wow, is what I have to say that. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners.
And who are you?
My name is Gwen Payne.
Well, thank you.
Sorry. You wowed me, so then I forgot. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Owensboro Symphony, and I must tell you how much I appreciate your support. Let me give you just a real quick synopsis of where this summer salute was born. And I know we all, because I learned a lot from you all, you know, from the leaders here in Owensboro and this community, for what we went through during COVID. But I will tell you, we dug really deep. And when you are an organization and you have 80 people elbow to elbow with a crowd in the audience, also elbow to elbow, we had to get real creative. And so that is where Summer Salute was born. We put a full orchestra on McConnell Plaza, which had never been done, you know, feet on the plaza with a crowd. We opened it to the public free of charge, and that's what our mission is to open up our craft, let everyone, we're here for everyone. We play for the whole community, and so we want to present this this concert and involve as many people in the community as we can. Thank you all.
Commissioners, so this all totals $358,000 that will be going to all of our downtown arts agencies, and I think that's pretty cool. We have a motion and a second. I'm going to call for the vote if this passes. I hope it does, guys, because if it doesn't, then you came here for nothing. We will all go downstairs or down front, and if you would send a representative, or all of you can come up, it doesn't matter. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Way to go. Let's go downstairs, down front. All right, if anybody is here that doesn't need to be here, you ought to leave because the next part isn't that much fun. All right. Jenny, you ready?
E, Owensboro Regional Recovery, ORR CDBG Closeout Documents.
Move to
Are
approve. Second.
I have a motion second. Are you going to come up and tell us that again? All right, you guys heard what was going on in the public meeting. All this is closing out the $200,000 grant, CDBG grant that we had, and talking in terms of it was used for the anticipated purposes. Any question or comment? This is where I guess I ask for any question or comment from the public now. There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, Jenny.
F, Resolution 19, 2022, ORR CDBG Application, and any other related documents.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, all this does is give me permission to sign any and all documents in regard to the new CDBG grant for 2023 that will be used for the operation of ORR. Any question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
G, Litter Abatement Program, Trash for Cash, 2023 Grant Agreement.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. David, do you want to talk to us?
Yes, so this is an annual grant. This is what funds our Trash for Cash program. We will not know the amount of money until December. That's when the state looks at how much they've collected. This is part of the $1.75 fee for every ton of trash that comes to our landfill. We write a check to the state. So it's been typically in the $60,000 range.
Are we still accepting applications?
We do that between, I think, Thanksgiving and sometime late November, early December.
So any not-for-profit that's looking to earn some money should contact Mike Hamilton at Solid Waste. If you can't get in touch with Mike, you can contact us here at our office. And it's how much a mile?
It varies depending on the amount of money we get, but it typically organizations get $500 to $600.
$600. Pretty easy pickings for morning.
But usually it's about $100 a mile, and we will either do 5
Any
or 6
question or
miles.
comment?
And just
Yes.
so the organizations that might apply would know that this is on county roads only.
Correct.
It's not like on the bypass, it's not on the state highway. This is strictly county roads only. So your traffic volume, I know I've had people talk to me before that they're concerned about signing up that people are going to get run over, and you can get run over on a county road as well as a highway, but the traffic volume is not nearly the same.
That's correct.
And David, we do some training. We have
We provide everything they need, including high-vis
gloves, high-vis vests,
bags.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Any other question or comment? Question or comment from the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
H, Updated 2022-2023 County Road Resurfacing List.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, as you are all aware, in the past, we were doing 30, 35 miles of road. Some years we did almost 40 miles of road. The cost of blacktop has gone up. It's more expensive. This year, we asked Mark to bring us a list of roads that would have been within the budget of the LGEA money, LGED money. whatever.
LGEA.
Yeah, the money we would get from the state, and we took that as far as it would go, but I also told him to prepare a list of roads that we would pave if we thought, once we had done the original list, if we thought we had enough money. And Mark, you brought that list. You want to read them off?
Yes, Judge. In the East District, we're recommending Fox Chase subdivision, all of the streets for a total of 0.501 miles. Rummage Road from Kentucky 764 to the county line for a distance of 0.646 miles. Nanny Bell Loop Road from Jones Road to Kentucky 144 for a distance of 0.849 miles. Pleasant Valley Road from Thurston-Dermont Road to the electrical substation for a distance of 1.231 miles. In the Central District, Fields Road south from Red Hill Maxwell Road to Greenbrier Road for a distance of 1.534 miles. Old Livermore Road south from West Harmons Ferry Road to the end of maintenance for a distance of 0.276 miles. Sharp Road from US 431 to the end of pavement for a distance of 0.322 miles. In the West District, Old Highway 81 from Kentucky 81 South to Kentucky 81 North for a distance of 1.184 miles. Boswell Road from Kentucky 456 to Curtsville, Delaware Road, a distance of 0.458 miles. Ladane Bridge Road from Kentucky 56 to Lee Rudy Road for a distance of 1.187 miles. Lee Rudy Road from Worthington Road to the dead end for a distance of 0.478 miles. That gives us a total anticipated paving list for this fiscal year of 26.194 miles.
So that's roughly 9 additional miles and roughly $500,000. Is that correct?
Yes, after doing the resurfacing up to this point, it actually told us around 600,000. We were able to bring it in 100,000 under so far.
Okay. The 45% of those roads will be done in the East District. The East District has 46% of the total mileage. 21% will be done in the Central District. Central District has 20% of all our roads. 34% will be done in the West District. And it absolutely has 34% of all the road miles. Have we completed all of our other paving?
No, we have not. I believe we still have 3 roads that we have not paved yet.
Will that get done this year, or will that carry over to next year?
I do anticipate us getting those 3 that we've originally approved done this calendar.
This year, or this fall?
Yes.
Yeah, so the other roads will carry over into the spring whenever the paving season
We're going to try
starts.
to get as many as we can done this calendar year.
Commissioners, any question or comment? Question or comment by any of the public that might live on one of these roads? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, Jenny.
Consultants for notice of intent, preparation for new residual landfill.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. David, do you want to talk to us about this?
Yes, this is another step in the process of constructing a new residual landfill, otherwise known as a CD&D landfill. As you all are aware, we have about 5 years of life left on our current space, and we are out of space. We are completely have built in the permitted area, so we have to go out and start a process to identify, permit, and construct a new cell for residential waste. We've completed the first process, which is preliminary identification of a site, meeting with the state to make sure they're okay with that. This is now going to be the second step, the notice of intent process. This will last about a year. Next year, we will have the administrative application, which will again take about a year to complete, and then finally the technical application, which is where the final designs will be in and everything else, and that'll take about a year, and then we can start construction. So this is a long multi-step process. Some of you all have, as I said, you've already approved one contract with them. Now this is the second. There'll be a third and a fourth and on.
Okay, question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item, Jenny.
J, Davis County Fiscal Court rate schedule.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Mark, or no, I'm sorry, Jordan, it has to be you.
Yes, Judge, this is the rate schedule that we update annually for goods and services offered by Davis County Fiscal Court that are subject to sales tax. There are only 2 changes from last year's schedule. In light of our latest and final editions of Target Throwers at the Gun Club, we now offer a super sporting event for $20 per round. Additionally, pickleball courts can be reserved for tournaments only at $5 per court per hour. All other rates remain the same, and I would recommend approval.
Question or comment, Commissioners? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
K, declare surplus inventory, include scheduled items in the 2022 auction listing.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Jordan?
Yes, Judge, we are prepared to conduct a surplus auction on Wednesday, October 26, 2022, with the majority of the items presented in this listing. Items in this list that aren't included in the auction will either be scrapped, sold via sealed bid, or repurposed. As we've done in prior years, Davis County Fiscal Court will conduct the auction in-house. I recommend declaring all scheduled items as surplus inventory and to dispose of them by method of surplus auction, sale for scrap, or disposal as garbage in accordance with Davis County Administrative Code and Kentucky State law.
Question or comment, Commissioners? Question or comment by the public? Claude, if we declare this surplus, can we then negotiate a transfer or a direct sale to another governmental agency?
Yes, we can, Judge.
Okay, so if it's
And
surplus.
we have
it-
done that in the past.
Okay, it doesn't impede that process, okay. Any other question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
L, award the following, bid number 222318, sprinkler head replacement project, RFQ 2223-24, trap and skeet targets, bid number 2223-20, Panther Creek Park lighting project.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Jordan, you know the drill. If you go through each one, just pause a second. I'll ask if there are any questions, and then we'll vote on it at the end.
Certainly, Judge. Beginning with bid number 222318, this bid is to replace and level 224 sprinkler heads for 8 soccer fields at Horse Fork Creek Park. We received 4 bids ranging from $27,580 to $34,477, and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid submitted by Sprinklers Plus in the amount of $27,580. This is a budgeted project. There were no exceptions, and I would recommend approval.
I noticed alternate one, they didn't put out a bid. Was there a reason?
They missed it.
They missed it.
Alternate one was for 6-inch sprinkler heads after public
Was
works.
that changing it from 4 to 6?
Yes.
Okay, okay, and we were going to go with 4 regardless, okay. Any questions, commissioners? Questions by the public? Next one, Jordan.
RFQ 2223-24. This quote is for the provision of 1,209 cases of trap and skeet targets for the Daviess County Gun Club. We received 4 responsive quotes ranging from $17,904.51 to $19,027.95, and recommend pursuing the low quote submitted by CAC Associates in the amount of $17,904.51. This is a standard budgeted restock of targets for the gun club. We have ordered from this vendor in the past. The cost will be recouped by our shooting fees. There were no exceptions. I would recommend approval.
Questions or comments? Question or comment for the public? There being none, next item.
Bid number 2223-20. This bid is to provide and install LED sports lighting for 3 ball fields at Panther Creek Park. We received 3 bids ranging from $673,000 to $765,180, and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid submitted by Norman King Electric in the total amount of $673,000. You will note this recommendation exercises bid option 1, which extends the 10-year required warranty to 25 years at a cost of $13,000. This is a budgeted project. Again, there were no exceptions, and I would recommend approval.
Commissioners, questions or comments? Commissioner Wathen, do you remember, isn't that pretty close to what we did a ball field for before? Or
Yes,
a little more?
it is.
About the same, okay. Question or comment by the public?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So when I saw you exercising the bid to go to 25 years, my first thought is, a lot of companies don't last 25 years. Is this on the product itself, or is this, who would be standing behind the manufacturer? Or
That would be Musco. They are a
Okay.
relatively old company, and we anticipate with how far spread they are through the nation, they will be around to honor it.
Okay.
Any other question? Okay, Commissioners, you heard the recommendations regarding bid number 2223-18 for sprinkler head replacement, RFQ 2223-24 trap and skeet target purchase, and bid number 2223-20 Panther Creek Park lighting. If there are no other questions or comments, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
M, reject bid number 2223-19 Yellow Creek Park tree removal and trimming project.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Jordan, tell me why we went to bid and told them we didn't want to do it.
Yes, Judge, this bid was for a large scope project of trimming and removing trees at Yellow Creek Park. The bids that we received were far outside of our expected price range, so we are recommending rejection of all bids. After reviewing this with Public Works Management, we believe the road department can address the majority of the project scope in-house over the next several months, which will narrow the project scope for review in the next budget. No part of this project is particularly time-sensitive, so we see no issues with proceeding this way. I would recommend rejection.
Commissioners, question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Jenny?
Yes.
Before you get going. The next three items are the second reading of ordinances regarding a rezoning in the property in and around the Greenbrier subdivision. At the last meeting, I made the statement that I will give each side 5 minutes. Mr. Kamoff, I'm going to start with you. Ma'am, are you going to speak for the other side, for the Greenbrier residents? What I would caution everybody, it gets very emotional, and let's not be booing and hollering and screaming. Let's all act like adults. What will happen is once each side has used their 5 minutes, you don't have to use 5 minutes, Charlie. I know you get paid by the word, but you don't have to use the 5 minutes. And ma'am, you don't have to use the 5 minutes. But once you finish, then Jenny will read the ordinances. So you're going to speak before the ordinances are read. And as I told you last time, all ordinances are written in the affirmative. And once the ordinance is read, if we get a motion and a second, then we can act. We can vote to approve, we can vote to deny. If we don't get a second, or a motion and a second, then we don't do it. The ordinance fails by lack of a motion, and the the planning commission's desire is what it ends up being, correct?
Correct.
Yep. So during that discussion, or we may not have any discussion, I can guarantee you that every one of these commissioners have been back out and looked at it again. I went back and reviewed the little, what do they call them now, the little thingy?
Flash drive.
Flash drive, yeah. I wanted to say DVD or a tape, but they don't even make those anymore, I don't think. And went back and reviewed again some of the statements made by some of the folks on both sides. We're very familiar with what this is all about. So once we get started, as I said, you make your statements. That will be the end of it. We will not call for comment after each ordinance. The comment is coming now, and the comment will be by the Ms. Baldwin, I think, wasn't it Ms. Baldwin, and Mr. Kamoff. So, Mr. Kamoff, do you want to start us off? Yes, sir.
Can we have just a momentary recess or a break? Let me, I'm going to run away.
Okay, for just a second. We will recess for just, I'm sorry, Charlie. I was anticipating you talking, and the other Charlie had to stop it. All right, Mr. Kamoff?
He left the building.
He RUNOFT. That's all right. No, you're up.
Gentlemen, I think at the last hearing, Judge, you asked a question, what did the Planning and Zoning Board do wrong? And I'm here to answer that tonight. I think there was an hour-and-a-half hearing, and I think that the evidence is overwhelming to support the ruling of the Planning and Zoning Board. I think the question was asked, Brian, about the staff report and as compared to what taken place, and he said that the rules and regulations and the comprehensive plan has to be flexible. There's a long line of cases that state this, that the comprehensive plan is a guide and not a straitjacket. So as we rely today, we rely on the wisdom and also the expertise of the Owensboro Metropolitan Planning Commission. The finding of fact that they made was comprehensive and I think covers nearly everything. The vote was 7-1. That's very impressive, especially in the light of the staff report. Commissioners that voted in favor were Jay Bellotta, Strode, Manuel Ball, Louis Jean, Fred Reeves, Schuyler Surratt, and Irvin Rogers. Now, why is that important? Louis Jean is from Whitesville area, well respected. Jason Strode is a large landowner in western Kentucky, and Manuel Ball is is the landman and the developer with Jago Homes. All of these appointees are county appointees. Why would you appoint outstanding citizens to the Owensboro Metropolitan Planning Commission and second guess without any justification? The reason for the Planning and Zoning Board is for them to use their discretion. If not, all you had to do was have a zoning administrator and they just got yes or no. The appointees that we have on the board are knowledgeable, well respected. I've been trying these cases since 1969, about 50 years. The most comprehensive finding of fact that I've seen was made by Manuel Ball. I would like to go over it with you. Here's what he said. But I do think if it's done, I'm going to make a motion, and I do think it's done properly, that duplexes can integrate well within the community. I think a couple of other examples, I used Hobo Woods, I used Countryside, but he threw in a couple of other ones. Lansdowne and the Bluegrass Commons, which is on Barron Drive. Now, if you drive down Barron Drive, there's 100 acres they've just started developing and about finished. You can't decipher, you can't discern the difference between a duplex and a single-family dwelling. In other words, what the board specifically did in this case is that they found that duplexes would blend in well with single-family dwellings. That's the first one. The second one, he said, I guess it all be said and done to the fact that this property sat so many years undeveloped, I think it would be good for the community to rezone the property. What did he do? This property is unique. You won't find any property that's been platted in Daviess County since 1963 that's undeveloped. So what did he say there? The third thing, I would like to make a motion. You understand there were really 4 findings of fact by the staff report. 2 of them was in our favor, 2 of them not. So what did he do? The proposal, here's what he said. The subject property is located, and he went on, the proposal is not a logical expansion, but it will integrate well with the community. What did he do? He specifically found that the proposed rezoning would work well in a single-family neighborhood. Now, the next one, what did he do? Since the property has not been developed since the mid-60s, the proposed infill development would offer what? A variety of housing types, which is encouraged by the comprehensive plan. The Owensboro, excuse me, the board specifically found what? That the way things were developed, excuse me.
1 minute.
Oh, me.
Oh, me.
So let me say this. Let me read about the staff report. There was some issue about it, but let me read if I can. Whoop. This is what Melissa Evans said in answer to the question about the staff report. It's not uncommon for the OMPC to still vote in favor of rezoning when the recommendation suggests otherwise. She said applicants can present facts and information beyond what is taken in consideration by the staff, given more information that they had at the hearing.
Thank you.
One.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Baldwin.
Mine's a little more personal, sorry. I gotta read it from the heart. Okay, I live down there. As you all know, you've all been down there. When we bought our homes there, we bought in a single-family neighborhood. That's what we were looking for, a quiet, nice place to raise our kids, nice, well-kept homes, no problems. We all anticipated, I have to read part of this or I'll get lost like he did. We all anticipated that at some point the woods would be developed and replaced with single-family homes. This subdivision was, I believe the word is chartered, as a single-family homes and not multiple family dwellings. Because of this, we had no fear that this would be changed. We have no desire to see our subdivision undergo such radical changes that would come with the introduction of the duplexes. We are aware that Mr. Boswell purchased this property to make a profit on his investment. We understand this. This is just business to him. We do not believe we personally should have our lifestyle destroyed. Yeah, I said destroyed. For the extra profits Mr. Boswell would get from building duplexes as opposed to single-family homes. These duplexes would cause radical changes to our neighborhood. Mr. Kamoff said that they would be integrated. They're not going to be integrated. They're going to be stuck at the end. You integrate, it's kind of like all of it, 1, 2. These duplexes will cause radical changes, as I've said. They will cause our property values to decrease over time. Noise, 72 more families will be noisy. Increased traffic, not just the cars, more garbage trucks, FedEx, and Prime, who's always at my house. The more people you pack into a small area, the greater occurrence of crime there could be with differing personalities. Parking. Everybody has been counting 2 cars per family. I believe a more realistic number would be 3, which would total 216 cars. Very few people don't have company. That would up the 2 cars to 3. Mr. Boswell said he would address the parking issue in his lease. Mr. Boswell is a very busy man with many business interests as well as political ambitions. I do not believe he will be able to oversee the property. Yes, there is a need for more housing in Owensboro. This can be accomplished by building single-family homes. You do not need to disrupt a subdivision that was chartered for single-family homes by building duplexes. Owensboro needs people to put down roots and make our city grow. Renters are transient. These are some of the reasons the decision by the OMPC to change the zoning should be overturned.
Also, there was the inaccurate and misleading information given to the OMPC by Mr. Boswell that came to light at our last meeting, and I think you all know what that was. The main thing I want you all to consider is that our subdivision was chartered for single-family homes, and we'd like you to help us keep it that way. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. That was short and sweet.
Well, you told me.
Okay, Commissioners, I am going to have Jenny read the first ordinance.
N, second reading of KOC 921.678, 2022, an ordinance amending a zoning classification set forth in the county zoning ordinance of February 5, 2024, regarding 5008 through 5120 Cambridge Drive.
Need to move to approve, don't I?
Yes, I need a motion for approval.
I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Second. Do I hear a second?
I did, Judge.
So I have a motion and second, Commissioners, or is there any discussion or any action?
Judge, I'd like the motion to amend based on the following.
Amend to do what? To deny, pass?
Yes.
Amend to deny? Okay.
Based on the following, the motion is to deny based on the following findings of fact. Zoning is not in compliance with the comp plan. Zoning is not a logical expansion of multifamily. The zoning to multifamily is not major street oriented. Current single-family residential zoning is appropriate. Thank you.
I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioners, I have a motion and second to deny the rezoning based on those four findings of fact. Any discussion?
So
Yes.
if we vote yes, then we're just voting yes to the amendment. Is
That's
that
correct. We are voting to add the amendment to the ordinance. It's already had a first reading, so now we'll have that amendment, which changes it from a vote to approve to a vote to deny. If the amendment passes, then we will vote on the ordinance as amended. Correct, Claude?
That's correct, Judge.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm clear.
Commissioners, you've heard the motion to amend. Any other question or comment?
And just to be clear, this is an amendment. The amendment is a motion to deny.
To deny the rezoning.
And it includes specific findings of fact, which the Commissioner read into the record, so the motion to amend is to deny based upon those findings
Correct.
that were presented, and those were facts that were found at the hearing.
Clear as mud, right?
Right.
Okay. All those in favor of the amendment signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? The amendment passes. So now we have an ordinance that was seconded or was made, a motion was made and seconded. We have an amendment to that ordinance. Now, any question or comment on the ordinance as amended? There being none, all those in favor of the ordinance as amended to deny, raise your right hand. Opposed? The first ordinance regarding the amending of the zoning classification has been passed, and it denies the rezoning. Next item, Jenny.
O, second reading of KOC 921.679, 2022, an ordinance amending a zoning classification set forth in the county zoning ordinance of February 5, 2024, regarding 5007 through 5123 Cambridge Drive and 5030 through 5114 Sturbridge Place.
Need a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second, Commissioners. Any comment, any questions, or any other action do you desire to take?
I want to make the motion to amend, and the motion is to deny based on the following findings of fact.
Number one, zoning is not in compliance with the comprehensive plan. Zoning is not a logical extension of the multifamily. The zoning to multifamily is not major street oriented. Current single-family residence zoning is appropriate.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So I have a motion and second to amend the original ordinance to deny the rezoning. Any questions, any comments? There being none, all in favor of the amendment to deny, raise your right hand. All those opposed, like sign. So the amendment to deny with the finding of fact, as stated, has passed. Now I'll call for a vote on the ordinance itself as amended, which is amended to deny. Any question or comment before the vote? There being none, all those in favor of the ordinance as amended to deny, raise your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries. So the second ordinance amending the zoning classification has been denied. Next item, Jenny.
P, second reading of KOC 921.680, 2022, and ordinance amending a zoning classification set forth in the county zoning ordinance of February 5, 2024, regarding 1859, 1863, 1903, and 1907 Sturbridge Place.
Before I get the motion, Jenny, I think you said February 5, 2024.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, February 5, 2004. Now, I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, second. Commissioners, is there any discussion regarding the ordinance or any other actions? Yes,
Judge,
sir.
I'd like to make a motion to amend. My motion to amend is, the motion is to deny based on the following findings of fact. Number one, zoning is not in compliance with the comprehensive plan. Number two, zoning is not a logical expansion of multifamily. Number three, the zoning to multifamily is not major street oriented. Number four, current single-family residential zoning is appropriate.
Commissioners, I have a motion to amend the ordinance and deny the rezoning based on the four findings of fact. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor of the amendment signify by raising your right hand. Those opposed, like sign. So we have the original ordinance now as amended to deny the rezoning. Any questions? Any comments? Hearing done, all of those who are in favor of the ordinance as amended to deny the rezoning, raise your right hand. Opposed? The ayes have it. Those are the three ordinances. So the Greenbrier subdivision property, as appealed to Daviess County Fiscal Court, will remain single-family residential. Certainly, I would tell everyone that the opposing side has the right to file an appeal to Daviess County Circuit Court. Is that correct, Claude?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. So, folks, no comments, no anything. Sorry, no comments. Folks, if you were here for this, I would suggest you leave. We still have kind of a long meeting, and there's no need for you to be here. There'll be no more action taken on these ordinances. Just give them a few minutes to move. Take care. Brian, thank you. I feel to thank Brian Howard from Planning and Zoning. He was here just in case we had any snafus. See you, Brian. Jenny, you ready?
Item 3, consideration for discussion. A, first reading of KOC 150.14, 2022, an ordinance repealing and replacing KOC 150.12 relating to a special transient room tax for the sole purpose of meeting the operating expenses of a convention center.
Motion approved.
Commissioner, sorry, it's the first reading. We don't
I'm
need,
sorry.
we don't need a motion. We just need an explanation, County Treasurer.
You want to do all three of them at one time, or just?
It might be easier if we separate them, just
Yeah,
because there is
I
a
think we
slight
should do
difference.
that.
And should you do this instead of
I
me?
will.
Okay, sorry, Carl, go ahead.
Judge, we have an ordinance now that was entered quite some time ago. The statute was changed effective January 1st of 2023 that permits the court to increase the numbers and types of units and businesses from which we can collect the room tax. This ordinance is just, we're not changing the ordinance other than to allow
Upgrade the
us
classifications, right?
to say that we can collect from Airbnbs, campgrounds, and other kinds of facilities like that. And we had attempted to do that without changing the ordinance. We got some pushback. So this will allow fiscal court to collect from and note to them that we have changed the ordinance.
So we're going to go ahead and read the other two, but generally that explanation pertains to the other two.
One of them, I think it's the 2% one. Let me look. We're just amending that ordinance rather than repealing and replacing.
Okay.
And that one we're amending because that's the one that includes the bond. And we did not want to disturb any of the language concerning the bond. We just want to include the revenue portion of that ordinance.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions or comments on the first one? Kind of gets complicated, but these ordinances actually affect the revenue stream. Actually, the next one specifically affects the revenue stream that we distributed monies out of this evening.
Yes.
So if there are no questions, yes, sir?
I just have a comment. First, it's kind of a statement. I find it kind of interesting that the city enacted this same exact ordinance on top of this one. And then I had so this is for the meeting of the operating expense of the convention center. And I was just going to ask Treasurer, what happens to the money if they're collecting 1% and we're collecting 1% for the operating expense? What happens if the convention center makes money?
I think the way that the law is written, you're allowed to use the 1% to offset the expenses of the convention center. I don't think there's any provision for the other side.
So it just deals with, this goes toward
The operating
whatever the
expenses,
expenses are.
their operating expenses will
No matter how
exceed-
much they're.
It will exceed the amount of these two ordinances.
First of all, Commissioner, I would say that's probably going to be a while coming. No offense to anyone. Secondly, I think that the treasurer is absolutely correct. It's to offset operating expenses, and if you offset an expense X, it doesn't come out of your revenue stream, you just make more money. You have more money to do things that are needed to do maintenance and that kind of stuff. Any other questions? No. Anybody in the audience, a question? Okay, let's go to the next one, Jenny.
B, first reading of KOC B 52, 2022, an ordinance of the County of Daviess, Kentucky, amending KOC B.48, 2012, which authorized the issuance of general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2012B, transient room tax supported project, in aggregate principal amount of $1,910,000 to reflect the additional revenue sources authorized in KRS 91A.390.
Commissioners, you heard Claude's explanation. We are amending that ordinance. We can't change it because back in 2012, we refinanced, if I'm not mistaken, the bond that was being paid off by the 2%. And bond counsel gets real squirrely when you start changing ordinances. This is not a new $1.9 million bond issue. As you saw, it references the 2012 $1.9 million bond issue. And Claude, this is the one you said we are amending it to bring it into compliance where we can collect from those other revenue streams.
That's correct, Judge. We're just amending the Section 8 to include the provision that permits the court to tax rooms authorized by, motor courts, motels, hotels, inns, or the likes, including accommodations by persons who broker, coordinate, or otherwise arrange for rental of those those accommodations.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Public, any question or comment? Okay, Jenny, next item.
C, first reading of KOC 150.15, 2022, an ordinance relating to the Owensboro Daviess Convention and Visitors Bureau and transient room tax as amended by KOC 150.1, R.2, and KOC 150.4, and KOC 150.12.
Claude?
Again, this is the repealing and replacing the 3% tax that funds the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And again, all we are doing is, it seemed easier, more effective, at least administratively, to have all of the ordinances done at the same time so that when someone else later, either treasurer or anyone else looks at it, all of those ordinances are all in the same place, all in our ordinance book in the same place, and it's easier to find them. And again, all we are doing is the court doing by adopting this when at second reading, if they do, is to replace the revenue stream with and include all of those additional corporations such as motor courts, motels, hotels, and anyone who brokers or arranges those kinds of operations, which would include things like Airbnb and other arrangements like that.
Questions?
I have a question.
Yes, I'm sorry. Let's have the treasurer talk about it.
The reason that the state changed this and the reason that we are changing it is these entities in the past, because they weren't specifically named, they absolutely refused to pay. This has been a national issue dealing with this, and many states have already made the change. In fact, Mr. Johnson sent a letter about 4 or 5 years ago where we apprised the clearinghouse that handles most of their Airbnbs that they owed the tax. And they sent us a rather unfriendly letter back to let us know they weren't paying the tax. So there was little we could do short of an expensive court case. Now that Kentucky has changed this, that's why you're changing it. And they already know they're going to be taxed. The owners of those facilities have already received letters to warn them they'll have to start paying.
It's curious that you mentioned Mr. Johnson, because I think every time he sends a letter out and he signs it, it doesn't end very well for Mr. Johnson. Oh, that was just an aside. Commissioners, question or comment? Yes,
So
sir.
I'm just curious, Jim, you said that they've already received letters. Did those letters go out from the state revenue cabinet or from us?
The clearinghouse.
The clearing, okay.
The people that collect the money for them. Because some have called in to ask what to do. Yeah, that's how I know.
Okay. Commissioner, you had a question.
This doesn't affect the duplicate 3% tax that the city has, right? This doesn't.
No, it doesn't touch it. They passed that tax after the KRS was amended and passed in Frankfurt, so they didn't have to do anything to theirs. Any question or comment by the public? Okay, there being none. Jenny, next item.
D, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court.
This is a time during our meeting in which we invite the public to come forward to the podium, identify themselves, and you're welcome to speak on anything other than what was on the agenda. No takers, Jenny.
Comments by Daviess Fiscal Court.
I kind of got ahead of myself. That's okay. We didn't have any other business, did we?
No.
Okay, good. Commissioner Coger.
Pass.
You don't want to tell us where you're going on spring or fall break?
I didn't want everybody to know.
That's what I thought. Commissioner Wathen?
I just want to commend all the citizens that are in the subdivision that we dealt with tonight when these, whether or not to rezone it. I think I've been asked quite a few times in the past, does it have an impact? Can I have an impact if I appeal something and if I express myself? And I think the fact that they showed up, they did a good job. It was 35, 36 of them, and I think it's an example of, yes, you can, as a citizen, have an impact. So those things are important.
You know, Commissioner, you're right. I always, on Facebook and all those other places, it's a done deal, it doesn't do you any good. It does do some good, and it's never a done deal until the vote's taken.
Right. And I'm wondering what this looks like something you could put champagne in.
Michelob Ultra.
But there's no champagne. Yeah. This is a major award that we received from GRAD the other night for what we were, special community?
We were the GRAD County of the Year.
County of the Year, and had a lot, it was because of what we did, all the different things we did over Horse Fork Creek Park. The spray park, the special park for special needs, and all those different things, the restrooms. And so that was our award. It was nice. And we appreciate GRAD presenting that to us.
And Commissioner, I appreciate the way you said Horse Fork Creek Park, because Judge Onan from Union County, he said it every which way but the correct way.
You have to think about it before you say it.
I hope he's watching tonight. Commissioner Castleton.
Do you really think he is?
No. I watch his meetings when I can.
I don't doubt that. Pass.
Commissioners, Commissioner, I too want to thank both sides. I thought that after watching the planning and zoning meeting and then these last two meetings, both sides presented themselves very well, represented our community very well. I have a letter from John Klaus, Deputy Director of the Emergency Management. It's his letter of resignation. It's actually not his letter of resignation. It's just he wanted to say thank you for the opportunity of having served our administration and the privilege of serving the fellow citizens of Daviess County. So, John, I hope you have a very good retirement. I can't think of anything else other than to say that all you lucky folks who are going on fall break, be careful. Don't forget where you live. And if you get into trouble down there, don't give them my name to come and get you. If there's no other business to be brought before Daviess County Fiscal Court, without exception, we're adjourned.